Hello my mycology friends, and welcome to Hillbilly Fungi. This channel is where I share my mycology hobby and the techniques I've found success with you. Today's episode's about liquid culture, aka LC. I'm going to show you how I make it in the containers I use. Starting out, I like to use small jars. These jars are recycled jars. I need to modify the lids. First, we're going to punch some holes in them. I'm going to start off with a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, placing it firmly on top of the lid, close to the edge, and punching it through the jar. Moving on to the second hole, I'm going to use a 0 Phillips screwdriver, punching that hole directly opposite of the first hole. Now we need to move on to actually installing the filter patches. I like to use MicroPose filter patches. They aren't very expensive, very durable, and work extremely well. Placing these isn't difficult at all. They have their own built-in adhesive. You just peel them off of the packing they come with and place them down on the jar. The adhesive is a circle on the outside of the filter patch. Make sure the bare spot of the filter patch is somewhat lined up with the larger hole of the two. After that is completed, we will move on to putting the injection port in. I like using type 2 silicone. I use the silicone on the inside. Everywhere I've punched the metal, there's exposed metal that doesn't have paint on it. So the first thing I will do is take a little bit of silicone and wipe the exposed metal on the inside. Even around the filter patch metal. I do not get any on the filter patch. When it comes to the injection port, I like to put a big glob on the back, followed with a drop coming off of it. That allowed me to inoculate the container more easily in the future. Flipping the jar over and putting a good amount of the silicone on the top. And that's it, guys. It's that simple. You can use RTV silicone, you can use type 1 silicone, it doesn't matter. The sterilization temperature is such a low number compared to what these silicones can work at. Now it's time to actually make the LC, the liquid culture. I have no clue how much water each one of these jars need. So what I'm going to do is place a pot on my kitchen scale and fill each jar to the desired level that I like, dumping the contents into the pot to take a measurement of the water. You can make liquid culture with just about any carbohydrate you want. I'm going to be using honey. You can use up to 4% of the weight of the water can be carbohydrate. I don't recommend going to a 4%. Your mycelium will grow very thick, making it hard to get into the syringe, and I have found my contamination possibilities are a lot higher the more the nutrients is in the LC. So I prefer a 0.5%. After measuring all my jars, I came up with the weight of 2,300, and I'm going to make a recipe of a 0.5%. So to calculate this, I need to find out the first 1% weight value. To do that, it's rather easy. If I move the decimal point 2 places to the left, I will get the 1% reading. So the 2,300 becomes 23 grams. 23 grams is a 1% of the 2,300 grams. So if I take half of 23 grams, I will get the 0.5%. With that being said, I decided to put 12 grams of honey in this batch. It's a little more than a 0.5%, but it will work for this. My final ingredient is erythritol. Erythritol is a growth hormone for mycelium. I like to use less than 0.25%. 12 grams was a 0.5%, so 6 grams would be 0.25%. That's on the high side of this number, so I'm actually going to put 5.5 grams of erythritol in this batch. Now it's time to move on to dissolving these ingredients into the water. Unfortunately, my water is cold tap water, so I'm going to place the jar into the pot and try to get this stuff out of it, and then place the pot on my hot plate to help dissolve the honey. The erythritol has no problem dissolving. It's gone instantly. After I get all that dissolved, I will fill the jars back up with the LC now. Get ready for the pressure cooking process. Getting my pressure cooker out, placing the jars in very carefully, trying not to let them touch each other or the inside of the pressure cooker. I don't like hearing the rattling of the jars while it's pressure cooking. Setting the hot plate to high and waiting till we get to 15 psi of pressure, and then I'll be setting the timer for 1 hour. After 1 hour, I'll wait until the pressure cooker has cooled down and the pressure release valve is not engaged. I'll take my LC and let it cool down inside of the pressure cooker. That will increase my odds of not getting contamination in my LC. When a jar cools, the atmosphere pressure inside of the jar decreases. Hot things expand, cold things contract. So through the cooling process, the jar is actually breathing in, taking a breath. And if you heat your jars up, they are exhaling, letting pressure out. That's going to wrap us up, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate you. Make good decisions. Be kind to other people. Peace out, my mycology friends.